Breaking tonight, the FBI reportedly investigating Joe Kent a day after he resigned a top job working for the president.
And with bombshell allegations against the late Cesar Chavez, what to do with schools and streets honoring him.
It's supposed to represent the community and represent the children, and that feels really icky.
Then, new at 11, call it a case of backwards logic as a driver heads down the highway in reverse. And later, March Madness grips the Rose City with tip-off at Moda less than 12 hours out.
Woo, pig suey, go Razorbacks!
Good evening, everyone. Let's get right to breaking news with Northwest native and former congressional candidate Joe Kent reportedly being investigated by the FBI. That's according to the NBC News and the Associated Press, citing sources. NBC News reporting Kent, who resigned on Tuesday as director of the National Counterterrorism Center, allegedly leaked classified information. The AP using slightly different wording here, that Kent improperly shared intelligence. Again, allegedly. Now, Kent stepped down from his post, saying he did not agree with President Trump's decision to go to war in Iran, though we should note, according to reports, the FBI investigation predates his resignation. The FBI declined to comment to NBC News. KGW and others have reached out to Kent for comment. Of course, we will keep you posted. Developing tonight, the list of women accusing workers' rights icon Cesar Chavez of sexually abusing and assaulting them is growing. The New York Times first reported about two women who say they were 12 and 13 years old when Chavez groomed and assaulted them. Now, longtime labor leader Dolores Huerta, who worked alongside Chavez, says he forced her to have sex with him against her will. Chavez, who died more than 3 decades ago, was well known for helping highlight the struggles of field workers in the 1960s. Huerta, who is now 96 years old, says she stayed silent for years because she didn't want to hurt the farm worker movement. And across this country and right here in Portland tonight, there's growing concern over public spaces, schools, streets, and parks, for example, named in honor of Chavez. Catherine Cook's in the newsroom with what community members are asking for now. Catherine?
David, many of them want a name change as soon as possible. Some noting that just seeing the name is now physically upsetting. The city and school districts say name changes involve a process that may take time. For generations, the name Cesar Chavez stood for Latino civil rights, farm worker advocacy, and dignity, a legacy now tarnished by accusations that Chavez, who died in 1993, spent decades sexually assaulting and abusing women and girls. Those victims, the New York Times reports, hushed into silence as the name of their alleged abuser graced countless streets and schools, like this one in North Portland.
It's supposed to represent the community and represent the children, and that feels really icky.
Kelly Rourke lives near Cesar Chavez Elementary. Given the reports, she believes the district should act now to change the school's name.
And I think immediate action is, don't celebrate that. Yeah, take people at their word, believe women.
A spokesperson for Portland Public Schools tells KGW, we're processing the recent news, and ultimately PPS has a school renaming process that includes community engagement and a vote of the board. In light of these allegations, some suggest renaming streets and schools honoring Cesar Chavez to instead honor Dolores Huerta, his right-hand person in the movement and, according to investigators, one of his victims.
I'd put her name on the sign. You're kind of like, wow, how did this take so long? But then look at everything else that's taken so long, the Me Too movement and everything else.
Elaine Jones lives near Cesar Chavez Boulevard, a 7-mile artery through northeast and southeast Portland. Once 39th Avenue, the city renamed it after Chavez in 2009, capping a 2-year effort by the Hispanic community.
When a generation from now looks back at this decision, it will be, well, of course.
Who knew? More importantly, now what?
And when this stuff gets out, it's good that it gets out and it is corrected, like in a city like Portland, rapidly.
A city spokesperson said Mayor Wilson is open to the conversation about a potential name change and believes it should be a community-driven process. On social media, City Councilor Candace Avalos added, I have begun looking into the process and talking with community leaders about renaming Cesar Chavez Boulevard to Dolores Huerta Boulevard. Per city code, one of the first steps is a petition with 2,500 signatures.
Thank goodness we have a space right now for people to come out and say, stop making this okay.
In North Portland, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Okay, let's switch to a live look over the Rose City on this Wednesday night with March Madness set to take over the Rose Quarter tomorrow morning with plenty of visitors soaking up our early Portland spring. Matt's here now with a check on how it's looking as we head into the tournament and toward the weekend.
Yeah, David, they're not going to want to go home if our weather's going to stay like this. It's just been an amazing run, and it will continue for another day. It's a very warm night out there. It's cloudy and 56 degrees, and that cloud cover will help to ensure that it's a warm overnight period and into the morning hours. Look at these high temperatures. Portland hit 71 today. Not a record, but well above the average of 57. So amazing. And our warmest days since the 7th of October. That was the last time we were in the 70s. Now that day we were close to 80. And speaking of 80s, record high in Roseburg, record high in Medford, Klamath Falls a record high, other record highs in Northern California like Mount Shasta City and down in Montague and Altura. So again, super warm weather all around the Northwest. And once you get south of roughly Portland, then it's clear you get out of the clouds. And because of that and the low humidity and the warm temperatures, special weather statement here centered over Crook County because of the elevated fire weather. And guess what? We've got our first red flag warning, fire weather warning in the state of Oregon. Yeah, this is early for much of Lake County and eastern parts of Klamath County. More on our warm weather and when it's going to change in a bit, David.
Yeah, it feels really early. Thanks, Matt. Okay, let's talk March Madness now, which kicks off in less than 12 hours with 4 round 1 matches, including the Gonzaga Bulldogs right here in the Rose City. That's as the Portland Fire, the city's reborn WNBA franchise, is now one step closer to the court and on schedule because of a key deal. We'll have more on that in just a moment. But first, Al McCarty caught up with fans who flocked to Portland ahead of the first round.
These games normally attract a bunch of sports fans and makes it a kind of that much better of an environment.
Tomorrow, the vibe is going to be spectacular.
And thousands of fans are traveling from near and far to see their favorite teams take the court starting Thursday morning at Moda.
I would hope that some people from Arkansas will be here, but otherwise I will be loud and proud.
And that includes the Gonzaga Bulldogs.
It's nice that they're playing in Portland, Spokane. I mean, it's not too far away. So it's nice to be staying in the West Coast.
I flew out this morning from Greensboro.
For some, like Leonard Jackson, it's a first-time trip as he follows North Carolina's High Point Panthers.
Never been to Oregon before. So now I can check this off one of my states. I want to go to all 50. I'm up to about 38 now.
Last March, he was in Rhode Island for the school's very first appearance in the NCAA tournament.
Second year in a row, and I've been to both of them.
Others carry on a March Madness tradition, heading to the closest host city, wherever that might be, to watch the first 2 rounds or the practice.
We've been doing this for about 6, 7, 8 years. And before that, my parents took me to the first and second round NCAA regionals every year. And from Missoula, it's only a flight away. And we normally, in the kind of the off days or this evening, we're going to find a sports bar to hang out and watch the play-in games.
We make a mother-son trip for every March Madness practice. The players are way more laid back and, it hasn't officially started yet. And so they're usually willing to come over and talk, and the boys love it.
It's just an amazing experience to be able to meet people that you've always looked up to. Whenever I watch a basketball game, it's just like I'm actually playing a game.
Yeah, lots of visitors, lots to look forward to over the next several days, not to mention the boost for local hotels and businesses. The first of 4 round 1 games at Moda tips off tomorrow morning, just before 11. David?
Those kids are so cute. Thanks,
Adorable.
Alba. And you know what? Speaking of the matchups, Orlando Sanchez has a front row seat.
Let the madness begin. The road to the Final Four rolls through the Rose City. 8 teams from around the country are here in Portland with one goal in mind: survive and advance. The dance is back in Portland.
Love Portland, love coming to Portland, obviously love staying in the Northwest.
Driving distance from the kennel. It's a home away from home for the Gonzaga Bulldogs.
We have a huge fan base down here, and it's easy for our fans to get here.
Head coach Mark Few is an Oregonian. He's from Creswell. This is an opportunity to be back in his home state.
It's great for me to get back, relatively close to home. My dad's not able to travel, but it's nice that we're close enough and the family can get down to see him maybe in the break in between games.
The last time Gonzaga played in Portland for the NCAA tournament, 4 years ago. Freshman Alonzo Metz was an underclassman at Jesuit High School.
It was amazing. I got all the family coming out here. I grew up in Portland for 16 years of my life, moved to Miami. So we came back here, getting the chance to play here in this arena. So many memories, coming here to go to Blazer games, all that. So it's a really cool experience.
Gonzaga sports 30 wins on the season, earning the 3 seed and a heavy favorite in their first round matchup against number 14 Kennesaw State. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock Thursday night. A win sets up a date with either Texas or BYU. Cougar star A.J. DeBonsa is projected to be one of the top picks in the upcoming NBA draft. The early session features High Point versus Wisconsin and Hawaii versus Arkansas. Winners of Thursday's games will advance to the second round and play right back here on Saturday. Reporting from the Moda Center, Orlando Sanchez, KGW Sports.
A lot of excitement. Tonight it looks like the Portland Fire will kick off its inaugural season at Moda on time in May, now that the WNBA and the Players Union finally reached an agreement. So it comes more than a year after the players opted out of their last deal and 5 months after that deal was set to expire. So the new one is slated to quadruple players' salaries and paves the way for the league's first $1 million players, though, as you might imagine, there are still some details to iron out. The WNBA commissioner telling ESPN the deal came in time to avoid making schedule changes to this season.
The league is exploding in growth. They're playing in bigger venues. They have a better TV deal than they've ever had. They have better sponsors than they've ever had. So the revenues are there, and the players should share in those revenues.
Well, up next, the expansion draft. It's critical for the Fire since they don't have any players yet. Technicality, right? Then training camp, and finally the preseason. It kicks off April 29th. Around the corner. Okay, a little more good news tonight for Rip City. The Portland Trail Blazers picking up a win on the road, defeating the last place Indiana Pacers 127-119. Donovan Clingan had a career-high 28 points and 13 rebounds. Way to go. The win moves the Blazers ahead of the Warriors for 9th place in the West. Next up, Portland visits Minnesota on Friday.